Good morning, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Thursday. It is the third day of July, 2025. And in the news this morning, the hostage ceasefire deal is again front and center with so many conflicting stories of what is happening, what will happen, etc., etc. The bottom line is nobody really knows. It's very confusing, so we'll do our best to sort it out for you. But what's not confusing is a video that surfaced overnight. It's being played now in Israel. And what it is, it's a video of two young men who were hostages there in Gaza, been there for almost 2 years. And basically, they say we are no longer human beings. They mentioned this on the newly released video, YNET's source. We're using the YNET source here. All the other websites have it. But the point is, they feel hopeless. They feel like they're dead men walking. And it's done purposely to tug at the heartstrings of the people of Israel to get some type of hostage deal done, where Hamas is assuming Israel will give up more than it should. And so this is the situation we find this morning. It is really something horrific. Now, at the same time, there's a story, and I don't know why this hit the headlines, but it did. Senior Hamas leaders in Doha, Qatar, are told to lay down their weapons after Trump's ceasefire proposal. This is from the Jerusalem Post. And the idea is they will lay down their weapons there in Doha, Qatar, which symbolically, well, because it means absolutely nothing. They're living in five-star hotels in Qatar. Many of them are billionaires. They're not anywhere near the fighting. It's what happens in Gaza. Hamas there needs to lay down their weapons. And of course, that is not happening. They refuse to do it. And they continue to say, we will never lay down our weapons. So what's going to happen? Again, nobody knows what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. We'll get into that in a minute. Now, also, we have a story I've been waiting to give to you. We just haven't had the time with so many other things going on. The Iran-Israel nuclear myth, debunking the decades-old deceit. This is an excellent story. It's from the Israeli Institute, and actually in the country of New Zealand. And they have an interesting website, and they do some great articles, and I read them periodically from time to time. And this one here really, I thought, needs to be promoted for you because it'll help, even if you already know the situation. It'll further kind of let everything sink in what has been going on, what is going on, and what could possibly go on with Iran and Israel, because that situation is still pending. Any day now, the fighting could begin again, as we said, particularly with the Houthis there in Yemen continuing to send missiles over to Israel and taunting Israel, that saying we're not going to give up. We're going to be the new place where Iran's missile base is going to be. So all of this is again coming to a head. We will see what happens. We trust, it'll happen sometime soon with everything going on. But again, we give you here every day the latest, and so let's get to it. Now, this first one again is just there are really no words here. We're no longer human beings, hostages say a newly released video. Sign of life from Maxim, Herkin, and Bar Kuperstein is made public by the families to urge the government to make a deal to return all of the captives from Gaza without choosing who is released and who stays behind. The reason they say this, supposedly with this coming deal, it'll be a 60-day ceasefire, and only 8 of the hostages that are there, of the supposed 20, we don't know that, of 20 who are still alive will be released. So you have to wait 60 more days at least to get at least 2 more hostages released. And there's still something like 10 still alive. And so they made this plea, and they sent this video out for everybody to watch. A video posted by the Hostage and Missing Families Forum on Thursday showed a sign of life from Maxim Herkin and Bar Kuperstein, who were abducted from the Nova Music Festival during the massacre on October 7, 2023. Hamas posted a video of the two in May, but their families asked for parts of the videos to be kept from public view until today, Thursday. We are dead men with a pulse. We do not feel human, the hostages said. We are again 30 meters underground. That's about 100 feet underground. Other captives pleading to be freed are also in the forum's clip. The family of hostages called for the government to return all of the captives held in Gaza for nearly 2 years in one deal and prevent the cruel need to select who among them would come home and whom would be left behind. All right, this horrific story continues. The video of the hostages crying out for release, the people of Israel demanding the immediate release of all the remaining hostages, while Hamas continues to delay answering, as well as making new demands. It is literally the worst case scenario with seemingly no end. Words cannot express how heartbreaking all of this is. And then we have this story, headline number 2. Senior Hamas leaders in Doha told to lay down weapons after Trump's ceasefire proposal. This is from the Jerusalem Post. The move to lay down weapons can be viewed as symbolic because Israel has demanded Hamas disarmament as a condition for ending the war. Doha-based senior Hamas leaders have been told to lay down their arms as part of the efforts to release a ceasefire deal with Israel, according to a Thursday morning report from the Times newspaper. The report comes after U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that Israel had agreed to the U.S. proposed ceasefire conditions. The Hamas terror group said it has been holding discussions to reach an agreement that would ensure the end of aggressions, the withdrawal of forces, and grant aid to the people of Gaza, the Times reported. Now, it remains to be seen if these leaders will symbolically lay down their weapons. However, the real issue concerns what the Hamas terrorists in Gaza will do. What will happen next there? Nobody knows. The fact that these people, the leaders, these billionaires living in five-star hotels, I don't even know if they have weapons on them. They don't need them. They've got bodyguards. They're living in splendor there, while their people in Hamas, the supposedly ones that care about the Palestinians, are suffering. Hamas is treating them like less than human beings as they do the hostages. It's a really terrible situation, but this is where we're at right now. The optics are horrible of all this. This is hitting all the headlines there in Israel that people are demanding that all the hostages be released. Well, again, this is Hamas that's holding them. And the only way Hamas said they'll release them if Israel leaves Gaza, declares an end to the war, leaves Hamas in power. And all these people have died in vain, nearly 2,000 of them. And something else here needs to be said. Only one website emphasized this. In the last 30 days or so, something like 20 soldiers have died in Gaza fighting against Hamas. How many more soldiers need to die, in doing this? And this is what's ongoing. And so it's again one of these situations where you don't even know what to say. Words are insufficient, and we'll see what happens when it happens. We'll let you know, but just something to really pray about and something to literally we're all agonizing over because it's one of these situations where it's seemingly no no good end to it. All right, our third headline is something I've been meaning to give to you in the last couple of days. It's an excellent article as we shift gears here from the Israeli Institute in New Zealand, the Iran-Israel nuclear myth debunking the decades-old deceit. Now, this is important for all of us to know and to remember what has taken place in the past so we can put the situation now into perspective because now we're shifting gears from Gaza and dealing with Iran and Israel, which again, the fighting can resume any day now. Here's the story. For years, critics of Israel have recycled a tired refrain. Israel has been warning that Iran is about to build a nuclear bomb for decades and nothing has happened. The implication is that Israel is fear-mongering, exaggerating, or even manipulating global opinion to provoke conflict or entrench its regional advantage. The narrative, though convenient for those seeking to delegitimize Israel, does not withstand scrutiny. Far from engaging in alarmist fantasy, Israel's warnings about Iran's nuclear ambitions have proven to be both prescient and restrained. The real failure, and I like this, the real failure lies not in the Israeli assessment, but in the international willingness to respond with clarity and resolve. In other words, the international community just kind of turns its head away. So, first of all, a record of deception. Iran's nuclear duplicity is not speculative, it is documented. This is the first point we need to mention. In 2002, that's 23 years ago, the world learned of the secret nuclear facilities at Natanz and Iraq, revealed not by Iran, but by an opposition group in exile. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, confirmed that Iran had violated its commitments under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the NPT, by conducting undeclared enrichment activities. In 2018, as we move forward, Israel exposed Iran's nuclear archive. What was that? Well, it was a covert cache of documents and plans showing how Iran maintained detailed records of a nuclear weapons program it publicly denied existed. The archive was smuggled out of Tehran, out of a Tehran warehouse by Israeli intelligence, and it showed designs for nuclear warheads, weaponization research, and missile integration, clear violations of Iran's legal obligations. The IAEA subsequently demanded explanations for the traces of undeclared nuclear material found at several sites, and guess what? Iran has refused to this day to cooperate at all. And then we have the mischaracterization of the warnings. It's important to understand what Israel has and has not been saying. Israeli intelligence has not claimed that Iran has already built a nuclear weapon. Rather, Israel has consistently warned that Iran is building the capability and infrastructure to do so rapidly if the regime decides to move ahead. This is known as achieving nuclear breakout capacity. That threshold is no fantasy. According to recent assessments, including those by the IAEA, Iran now possesses enough highly enriched uranium to produce multiple nuclear warheads. Weaponization, the final step, could take months. In other words, Iran is closer to a bomb today than it ever was before. So Israeli warnings were not false, they were just ignored. And here again, we've got the double standard. Critics often deflect from Israel's actions by pointing to Israel's own nuclear posture, asserting that Israel has no standing to object, and this is a red herring. Israel has never signed the NPT and maintains a policy of deliberate ambiguity. It has not violated any international agreements, it's never threatened to annihilate any state. It has also never exported weapons of mass destruction or proliferated technology to terror groups. Iran, by contrast, is an NPT signatory. It has routinely breached its commitments, developed ballistic missile technology, and openly arms proxy groups that target civilians from Gaza to Riyadh. The problem is not simply nuclear capacity, it's the nature of the regime that seeks it, and that's been the problem all the time. A nuclear Iran would not simply be another country with a bomb. It would be a fundamental threat to global security, given its genocidal rhetoric, its ideological extremism, and its proven willingness to act through terror proxies. Now, going back to 2015, it's hard to believe it's been 10 years now. The JCPOA under Obama, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, was not a solution. It's often claimed that it proved Israel wrong by ensuring Iran's compliance, but it's a gross oversimplification. What Iran did was adhere to parts of the deal, but the agreement itself was fundamentally flawed. Why, if you remember, if it sunset key restrictions, allowing Iran to resume large scale of enrichment after 10 to 15 years. Well, it's this October to be 10 years, all right? It ignored Iran's missile program and terror financing. Nothing was said about it. It granted Iran massive sanctions relief without ending its regional aggression, and it restricted inspections, barring the IAEA access to military sites. So what it did basically is allow Iran to continue doing the work to enrich uranium, to get their missiles more, precise, to hit the targets they want to hit when it comes time to put a nuclear warhead on these particular missiles. And again, with Iran is playing the long game here. That's what people don't understand. It's not like what's going to happen the next couple of months. Iran can wait. They're biding their time. So when everything's ready, they can destroy the little Satan Israel, the big Satan United States of America. And since the U.S. withdrawal in 2018, Iran has accelerated enrichment, cut off IAEA access, and intensified attacks through proxies. The nuclear threat, and here's the key, is not hypothetical, is unfolding in real time. So, in contrast, the Iranian leaders fantasize about Israel's destruction. In contrast to what Israel is saying, the supreme leader has called Israel a cancerous tumor that must be eradicated. The regime funds Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis that again spread terror across the world. They're expansionist, revolutionary, and explicitly eliminationist. In other words, they want to eliminate Israel and the United States and all of Western civilization. So in contrast to this, Israel has never threatened Iran's existence. It seeks containment, deterrence, and regional security. Any potential military strike would be a last resort, and that's what happened. It's for self-defense here. So as we fear this last resort of what this article finishes now, this last resort will have to happen. Iran will never give up its aspirations. How many times do we have to say this? Israel will do its best to contain this terrorist regime until, if and when, another one takes over. In the meantime, we will continue to see life rough for the Israelis. Now, sadly, these stories that we looked at today, and they're all heartbreaking, confirm sign 7 of our book, 25 Signs. We're near the end. There'll be a continual search for peace in Israel. They will have no peace whatsoever as a nation. They haven't had any since 1948. since the modern state of Israel was reborn. This book is a free download from our website, Educating Our World, under the heading of Bible Prophecy. We have 12 books on the subject of Bible prophecy. They're all free. Please take advantage of them to understand the situation right now, because it's a horrific situation. And we know from Scripture it's only going to get worse before it gets better. So we'll give you the latest every day, even the latest may being we don't know what's going to happen, such as the hostage ceasefire release episode, because it's so confusing for everyone. But whatever happens, we'll let you know when it happens. I'm Don Stewart again. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.